Hello, Salesforce Ohana Walters 954 here, and let's see if we can solve this Apex Sandbox question 129, which is about students with missing information. So this is an SOQL practice question that you can do at apexsandbox.io, and I encourage you to pause the video and give this a try right now yourself. All right, so now that you've given this a try, let's take a look at this problem. We want to select from a table that has students and they are all active. We want to make sure that they're all active, and we're checking to see if the email, the phone number, if both of those fields are empty, or so one of them could be empty or both of them could be empty. And then we want to return the ID and the name and sort it by the name. So all of this kind of makes sense, right? You're searching for records that have fields that are missing, and you could do this on a daily basis inside of any Salesforce, or when you're doing development like this. So some of the key things here is that this is going to be a compound SOQL filter statement that we're doing. The first thing that we need to check to see is that if they're active is equal to true, right? We need to check that, and we need to do some sort of function or keyword that can check if either of the next set of values is true or not, because it's not just looking for email or phone, it's either or, right? So we need to check the email, and if that is true, then we're able to move forward. Or using that keyword, right, the phone, if the phone is true, then we're able to move forward as well. So either one of these, it could be true and we move forward, right? So if the email is false, but the phone is true, then we're okay to move forward. If both of them are false, then we want to move on to the next one. Or that is false. We do not want to return that value here. So let's get to coding this up. And the first thing that we want to do is just have a value that we can store our list in. To do this, let's grab the list that we're going to be returning, and let's call this students. And in here, after we have initialized that variable, we want to use our inline SOQL statement. So all of our SOQL statements are going to start off with select, and then we need to add in the fields that we're looking for. All right, and now let's add in the other field which it required in the result set, which is the name. So these are the fields that we are selecting. Then we need to tell the system, or tell SOQL, what table we're going to be pulling from, or what object we're going to be pulling from. So we need to use the from keyword, and in this case we're pulling from the students table here. Let's expand this out and do some tabbing so that this looks a little bit better. Okay, so now it's actually, I don't know if that's going to work. That's not going to work. Let's spread this out so it looks a little better. All right, so now let's talk about the where conditions and the logical operators we're going to use. So if we're adding a filter in here, we always have to use our where. And then the first condition that it asks for is that it is active, right? So active is equal to true. That is perfect. But now if we remember from the diagram that we were just using, we need to combine this with other logical operators to make the query work. Because if we just run this, right? So let's stop here. We need to make sure to return our students list and run this. We're going to see down here, some of them are passing because we're just not completely failing. We're returning something, right? But we're not getting the exact values that we were looking for when this ran. So that is because we need to add our other logical operators in here. Now we need to check, okay, we've got our first thing. Everybody is active. That's perfect. And we also need to check if our email, so let's grab this field here, email is equal to null. And it's like, what the heck is null? Well, null is the absence of a value. It could be, it's basically the record is created and we don't put anything in. So it's very similar, but this technically isn't empty string, right? Empty string is even though generally they work the same, and it is not exactly the same. But for our purposes, we might even be able to use it, and I'll take a look at that in a second. But let's talk about, you know, completing this first before we move on to something a little more advanced. All right, and then we're gonna also check if our phone number is null, right? So our email is null or our phone number is null, and it just needs one of those values to equal true, and then it will go through. So let's try to run this real quick, and some of you may have caught on an error, right? We're getting a compilation error, and it's not telling us what area it is, and I think that's just, you know, a limitation of this platform as of right now. But what we're missing here is, since we're combining an and statement with an or, we need to wrap these in parens because of the ordering, right? So either of these can evaluate to true. This logical expression can evaluate to true, and this one has to be true, right? You can't say true and or these. That doesn't really make sense. So you need to, whenever you're doing a combination of an and an or, you need to wrap multiple ors inside of inside of your paren so that they execute properly. So let's run this. We should not get an error, but we are not getting, you know, we still have a couple tests that are failing, and that is because we need to finish out with our order by and drop in our name. So this will sort everything by name in ascending order first, and then with nulls. So there we have it. We're getting our nice confetti. All of our tests are passing after we run that. But one other quick thing that I want to show you all is that a lot of times Salesforce treats nulls and empty strings almost the same. So let's run this, and you know, we're still getting our confetti when we run that. So we can mix and match this, but if you want to cover all of your bases, you might as well just use null. It'll cover pretty much everything in that aspect. Now, what if we wanted to make sure that both email and phone number needed to be null for the values to get returned? Well, check out this video over here that I did the same exact ApexSandbox problem. And if this was a little confusing or a little fast, or you want to go even more in depth with SOQL, check out my course, The Ultimate Guide to SOQL. Links are in the description, and make sure to use that YouTube discount code. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Walters954, and remember, I believe in you. Let me just wait for this plane to fly over. How long is this going to take, plane? Messing up my video here.